May the words of my mouth and the meditations of all our hearts be ever pleasing in your sight, O God, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. So there's the general belief, I think, that's agreed upon, that if you're doing well, if you have all the money you need, if you have the kids you want and the life you want, and you're traveling and you're happy, then you are blessed. And if you're not doing well, if you're struggling, if you're poor, if you're tired, if you're sad, if you're sick, well, then you're not blessed. Blessed usually means good, and that something that's not blessed is bad. That's often how we think of that relationship. All the Instagram people going around showing their perfect lives, #blessed. It's how we've thought about this for generations. Look at the story of Job. Whenever he has everything taken from him, his land, his family, everything he could ever want in life is gone. And he sits there in his sackcloth and his ash, and he's mourning, and his friends show up and say, "What did you do wrong? You must have done something bad to deserve the bad things that have come from you. Your blessings have been taken from you because you did something wrong. It's bad that you are suffering. You are not blessed anymore because you are suffering." That's how we thought about this for generations. But when we look at the story of Job, we know that Job did nothing wrong. Job was just caught up in a bet between God and the devil, where the devil said, "Job won't like you anymore if you take away all his stuff." So God put that to the test. But people assume when you have the nice house, when you have the car, when you have the money, you have the trips, you must have done something right. You're blessed. God must be looking with favor on you. And if you are hungry, if you are sad, if you're hurting, you're not blessed. And what could have happened to cause this to you? What did you do wrong? Why should you have to go through this? It's a very binary way of thinking, but we fall into it all the time. Blessed means good and not blessed is bad. Blessed people deserve what they have, not blessed people deserve to suffer. Somehow we control if we're blessed or not by what we do. And then this reading for today comes along in the gospel. And it kind of challenges all that. When you listen to the words, "Blessed are the poor, blessed are the meek, blessed are those who are mourning, blessed are those who are persecuted for my name's sake." Jesus is turning the world on its ear for the listeners. Because that's not how God's supposed to work. God gives you good things if you're good and bad things if you're bad. God doesn't bless people who are poor. God doesn't bless people who are struggling and hurting. God obviously doesn't like those people, or they wouldn't be struggling or hurting. They're not blessed. God clearly doesn't like them, or why would God let them go through that? Yet here comes Christ, showing up on the mountain saying, those people you think aren't blessed, those people who are struggling, those people who are hurting, in fact, they are the most blessed ones of God. They are the ones who are blessed. Now, what is Jesus actually saying here? Because we've all been in those places of mourning and those places of hunger and those places of pain, and quite frankly, usually it's just terrible. It doesn't feel like a blessing. In order to understand what we're getting at, we have to go back to the Greek. And I have to thank Pastor Lauren Haywood here, the classics major that's in our conference as we were doing the Bible study, who helped illuminate this passage for us a bit, because my Greek is a little rusty and hers is fantastic. The word that they use for blessed, and they keep using over and over again, because the thing is, they don't have to use that word blessed over and over again. Blessed are the poor, blessed are. They go say, blessed are the poor, the meek, the but they keep reinforcing that blessed. And that's an intentional thing. And the word is makarioi in Greek. Makarioi is one of many words they could have used for blessed too. So it must mean it's an intentional choice that they used this word and they kept using it again. And it's a Greek word that usually was used to refer to the gods are with. So like thinking of all the Greek gods, the gods. So in this case, we're talking about one God, though. God is with. So a better translation, instead of blessed are the poor, might be instead, God is with the poor. Instead of blessed are those who mourn, God is with those who mourn. Instead of blessed are those who are persecuted for my name's sake, it is God is with those who are persecuted for my name's sake. What Jesus is saying here is where you assume that God isn't, where you constantly say, yeah, God can't possibly be here because these people are bad, or they're suffering, or they're hurting, or they aren't happy. Well, that's exactly where God is. Jesus is turning the conventional thinking of the day on its head. And he's lifting up the idea that God is in fact just as much in the painful places as in the joyful places. That God is not limited to only being in the good. That blessed doesn't mean the accumulation of wealth or things, but instead it's about God's presence. And in this case, God being present in those places you think God isn't, or those places that you don't want to go. Just like we had a sermon a little earlier, that God is not just in light or just in dark, so too God doesn't show up just in the good things in life and completely abandon us in the bad things. Now don't mishear me. That doesn't mean God caused the bad things. There's certainly sin and evil in this world doing its work that causes those bad things to happen. But the minute they do happen, that doesn't mean God just up and leaves. God shows up with us in that bad thing. God doesn't separate God's self from us in our struggle and our pain and our mourning. God is with us in our pain. God is with us in our doubt. God is with us in our struggle. God doesn't abandon us in those times. As many of you know, I did my CPE, which is Clinical Pastoral Education, at the Hospital of the University of Pennsylvania. While I was there for 3 months working in the trauma bay, we saw a lot of gunshot wounds and violent crime. And not everyone would make it through that. One night, about 3 a.m., we had a 21-year-old boy come in, gunshot wound to the chest, didn't know his name, he didn't make it. Somehow the family was at the scene where it happened and figured out where the kid was coming. So the family was there. Legally, I am not allowed as chaplain to deliver the news that he had died. That has to be the doctor. So we entered the room together, me, the doctor, and a security guard. And we met with the boy's mother and 2 aunts. And it was a conference room, rather tight conference room. And the doctor delivered the news. And I have never witnessed such profound and raw grief. Wailing, beating on the walls, just uncontrolled sadness. It was one of the hardest things that I've ever had to be present for. There's nothing I can do in that moment. There's no words that are going to make it better. There's nothing that's going to fix it. But I'm not going to let anyone ever tell me that God wasn't in that small consultation room. Because God knows what it is to lose a child, a friend, a loved one, a parent. God knows what that pain and that mourning and that grief is. And God was there with that family, wailing and crying and beating the walls just like they were. God knows that pain. God is with us in that pain. When we experience that grief and when it comes rolling back again and again, God experiences it with us. God doesn't leave us alone in that place. It reminds us, I am here with you and I'm hurting with you. And I love you and I love them. We can't limit God's presence to just the good parts of our life. God, of course, is there. God is joyous with us. God celebrates with us. But God is with us in all our lives, the good and the bad. God does not abandon us when we are in pain. God feels with us, and God is present